Let's watch.
I think it's a case of the big wigs all having personal ambition and a case of trying to get what you can get depending on how powerful you are. And Peter Obi went to that party. Probably Peter Obi was the only one that didn't really know what lied ahead of him in ADC. Because if you look at the caliber of people in ADC, and talking about Vice President Atiku Abubakar, it's almost clear to everyone that that is not the kind of person that will step down for another person to become a presidential candidate. And note that Obi has always said that it will be on the ballot in 2027. He has said that, and be on the ballot as what? You get it? So it's a case of having an ambition to be on the ballot, and you go to a party where you have other bigwigs that also have the ambition, the same ambition with you. So it's a case of struggling, really. And of course, for Peter Obi to, I think all the analysis I read is that Peter Obi wanted them to tell him that he was going to be the presidential candidate.
Like on a platter.
Yeah, exactly. And that he's not ready to wait for any primaries, he's not ready to wait for any contest and all of that. He just wanted them, just as it happened when he was in Labour Party. You know, he also left PDP 9 days to that party's primary then. He went to Labour Party, and Labour Party gave him that presidential platform, just on a platter, just to say. Now, I think it's a clash of ambition, if I want to put it that way. And Obi clearly knowing that he's not going to get anything in ADC, cleverly left to where he could be treated as a bride and not a side chick.
Right? Well, let's get BKO to react to this. What do you make of, Mr. Keyamo's description of what has happened? With the ADC, should it not have been like normal for them to choose that, okay, in 2027, we're zoning the presidency to the South, and who is the biggest name we have for the South, and perhaps just hand the ticket over to the person? What do you think, BKO?
Well, things don't run like that politically in our country. I do not totally agree with Keyamo that he was treated shabbily, that he was treated like a side chick. I do not totally agree. I think that Peter Obi was not prepared to go through a primary election. He knew that he would not be able to win a primary election in the ADC, especially with people like Atiku, people like Rotimi Amechi, certainly going to contest against him. So he made up his mind not to wait until that time comes, because the guarantees that he wanted, for example, that power will be zoned, that presidential seat will be zoned to the South, he didn't get it. As long as you have someone like Atiku still interested in contesting the presidency, you cannot have the presidential seat zoned to the South. So he lost out on that spot, and he didn't want to go through the primary election. He's never had to contest the primary election. He's used to the presidential ticket being thrown on his laps. So, and that is why in that party, full of big politicians, X this, X that, he was certainly not going to get what he wanted. And he behaved like, look, if you will not give me what I want, then I'll go elsewhere, I'll go to where they will give me. It's become in modern times, one of the most nomadic politicians, one of the most nomadic Nigerian politicians. So somebody who was allowed to produce the organizing secretary of the party, I don't think he was treated shabbily. He just didn't want to stay because he knew that he would not be able to get the presidential ticket. And for some of Atiku's people, they also thought they would be able to convince him to run once again on a joint ticket with Atiku Abubakar as his deputy. But he also knew that that would amount to committing political suicide, because if in 2023 you contested as the presidential candidate of Labour Party and you were able to come third, a close third, winning 6 states, there's no reason to climb down the ladder and then turn yourself to a running mate again after you had, on your own strength, as presidential candidate of Labour Party, done so well, winning some states, including Abuja. So he knew that if he agreed to be Atiku's deputy, he would lose his big support base. That is the obedience. And he was not going to take that risk. So and what does he then do? He decided to leave the party and go to a place where he will be allowed to run as the presidential candidate. So politics is an interest-driven game. Obi's interests didn't exactly align with the interests of some of the power people within the ADC. So, and that was why he had to leave. They didn't send him packing. He left on his own, you know, and they tried their best to bring him in. It took up to 6 months to convince Peter Obi to join that party. So he joined that party. They were hopeful that they will be able to keep him. So I disagree that he was treated shabbily, or that he was treated like a side chick. Keyamo just felt like having a dig at Peter Obi. No, the treatment that they gave him wasn't the kind of treatment that you give a side chick. They wanted him in their party. They knew he would strengthen their party. They wanted to keep him, but Peter Obi didn't feel like remaining in that party. He wanted to go elsewhere, where he would be made the presidential candidate. Since he was not going to get that guarantee from the ADC leaders, he then decided that it was time to move on.